Hi Victoria. So let's take a second try at the video on the Unit 5 quiz. Sorry about deleting the other one on you. So you had 4 questions that we'll go over. The first is this question about the soccer and the hockey, and I think what you missed here was the idea that those two events are not mutually exclusive. So if we take the probability of playing soccer plus the probability of playing hockey, then we also need to minus the probability that that particular person plays soccer and hockey. And so you end up with 0.57 plus 0.83 minus the product of those two probabilities, and that puts you at the 0.9263. So for question 4, if you're rolling 2 dice, then there's tons of charts that you can look on on the websites to find all the possible outcomes. There's 36 possible outcomes when you're rolling 2 dice in terms of the sum of those 2 dice. And this goes back again to question 3, where some of those are not mutually exclusive. In other words, if, for example, if I rolled a 3 and a 3, then that's also evenly divisible by 3. And so if we count it twice, then our probability is going to be off. And so that's why it ends up being 4/9 and not 1/2, is that you have to subtract out the ones that will fit in both categories. In other words, they are doubles, but they also divide evenly by 3. For question 6, when she's making a shot, she's either going to hit or miss. And so if you want to, it's a lot easier to think about heads and tails. It's the same idea, but we're just more used to doing that. So if you were going to take 3 shots, that's the same as throwing coins 3 times. And so if you make up your set of outcomes, then there will be 8 possible outcomes. And I won't write them all out, but you get the idea. If you write them all out and you have a look at those 8 possible outcomes, the number of those that will have 2 heads, if we let heads represent hits, 2 heads exactly, will be 3 out of the 8. And so that's where we get our probability for that one. And that brings us to question 7. Now, with question 7, if those 2 things are independent, then when you multiply this probability times this probability, you have to get this probability if they're independent. And that's not the case here. And so we can say that they're definitely not independent. For them to be mutually exclusive, both things can't happen at the same time. In this case, there's nothing to indicate that she couldn't be elected to Students' Council and also represent the school in the public speaking contests. There's nothing to say that she has to do one or the other. Definitely she could possibly do both. And so that makes these not mutually exclusive either, which is why this answer here, that they're not mutually exclusive or independent, has to be the only answer for that question.